County, welcome back. This is our series on spring gardening. I'm Mindy Turner, your Family and Consumer Science agent with the Curry County Cooperative Extension Service, part of New Mexico State University. My special guest today is Ms. Zandy Bunch. She is our ICANN educator who works with our cooking and nutrition program here out of our office. And so one of her expertise is gardening, and she's been building some gardens around town, working with some community gardens and through some of our child centers here. So I've asked her to share a little bit more. Mason talked to us last time about the planting season and when you should be thinking about planting and kind of what you should be thinking about planting. So Zandy's going to talk to us a little bit today about then maybe how we plant and what additional things we need to consider to get our gardens to grow. So, Zandy, thank you for being here.
Oh, I'm excited. This is stuff I really enjoy. This time of year is my favorite, so I'm ready to get started. And in gardening, one of the first things we need to get started is good soil. We're going to have some good soil to put our seeds in, or if you buy plants, you want to transplant those plants into some good soil. So let's first talk about if we start with seeds. A good way to start is with these Jiffy Pot growing little trays, to where all you do is you just put your fertilizer and water in your tray. With your little dirt pucks, they'll just grow and you'll have some good nutritious soil to put your seed in. You put your lid on top, and then it becomes a greenhouse, and it keeps the moisture in, and your seeds have plenty of moisture to sprout and then grow to be healthy plants. So that's one way you can get started in getting your plants ready to go into your garden. Now, maybe you don't start them from seed. Maybe you already have plants and you're ready to go into the garden. You're ready to start them in the garden. So what you want there is some good soil also. And let's talk about where you're going to put them, because, you know, Mason told you you shouldn't really go outside in the garden till May 1. So maybe you want to put them in some pots first and then go outside into your garden. I know for sure that these seeds I have started in the Jiffy Pot, I will let them get 2 to 3 inches tall. They'll start kind of lifting this lid up. Then I know they'll be ready to go into their next pot before they go actually in the garden. And I just use these little pots. You can pick these up at the Dollar Tree. They have them at Lowe's. You can pick them up most anywhere. And you just want to make sure this one has just a little plastic little thing for draining in the bottom, so your plants don't just sit in water. Put that in there. Then you have some good healthy potting soil. Now you can mix your potting soil if you would like. Make your own if you do your own composting, but you want to make sure that it's not too hot if you're making your own composting, and you want a good mix. If you buy it, it's ready to go in a bag. You just pour it in your pot, set your little pod with your seed in there, and then you've got it repotted in a bigger pot to grow even bigger and healthier and be ready after that May 1 date to put into your garden. So there's a lot of different ways you can garden. In the ground, you can garden, or for instance, I've started a outdoor classroom at Future Generations Learning Center to where we're gardening in big containers, and that's another way that we can garden. If you choose to do that, that works really well. Again, you have to have good healthy soil in those containers, and you can layer that soil so you have good drainage, so you have a good healthy soil for your plants. You can use rock in your containers to use as a filter that they can drain through. Then you can layer your, maybe even just get some dirt. Then the next layer you could put would be your potting soil. You can even add, if you're in the country or if you have somebody that has some lots, get a little fertilizer. Not very much. That stuff stays very hot. From horses or pigs or cows, you just want a little bit of that in your gardening containers. But it's a good start, just a little bit to sprinkle around, then put your potting soil on top.
Or add it to your compost.
Or add it to your
break
compost.
down, right?
Exactly. Yes, good point. Add it to your compost and it can break down, and then you have some healthy soil there for your plants. We want to remember the most important part of our plant is the roots, because if we don't have healthy roots, we don't have plants. And the way we get healthy roots is by having good, healthy soil. So that's very important. And we want gardening to be positive, something we enjoy, something we look forward to. So if you're a first-time gardener, don't go too big. Start off something a little bit smaller, start off with something you can manage, because it is a job. It's a fun job, but it's a job that you have to do every single day. Looking at your plants, looking to see, do they need water? Are there weeds you need to pick? What do they need? So it's something you want to start off little, and then you can just grow from there. Now, once we get our soil the way we want it, we get our plants put into our soil. The wind blows here, Mindy. Did you know it?
I haven't noticed.
The wind blows
Y'all
here.
can't tell usually when you see my hair on our videos that
So
the wind blows.
when we do put our plants in the ground, we have to have them protected for a good while, because you just never know about our crazy wind. A good way to do that is by using an empty milk container. And you start off just by cutting the bottom of this milk container out, placing it over the top of the plant. As the plant grows, then you can even cut the top part of this carton out to where it just has a good protection just around the middle, just to protect that stem from the bad winds that we have. Eventually, you'll know that plant's gonna get bigger and stronger and bigger and stronger, and eventually, I know the wind is going to die down. So we can eventually take those off.
We're not there yet. It is still
But
spring
it's still
in
spring.
eastern New Mexico.
Exactly. It's still spring, so we can't take them off anytime soon. But that's a good way to protect your plants once you do have them in the garden. And don't forget, you want to, especially if you have container gardens, you don't want to water on top of your plant. Remember, we want strong, healthy roots, so we want to water down in the soil on the root, not on top of the plant. That is very, very important when we're growing plants.
And that's too, I mean, the plants block a lot of that water from getting down to the roots.
Right.
It soaks it up in the leaves, and then they just don't
The
strengthen
leaves
up.
and stuff mainly want to soak up the sunshine and the heat. The watering needs to be down to the roots to where they grow strong and healthy.
Excellent tips. This is, my kids love this, because you plant them in the house and you can watch them grow, and they
Yes.
literally start coming up very quickly.
They do, they come up
Um,
fast, and it works so well with that lid to create that greenhouse
Yeah,
effect.
but then it's so disappointing when you plant them outside and all
Yes.
your plants die. So that's why I wanted Zandy to talk some about what have been the successes and some of those tips that can help you make sure that when you do transplant those plants out, that they survive well. Now, I know the Future Generations Garden, those were purchased containers, correct?
Right.
They came as kits. So
Right.
you can purchase kits. You can also use a lot of the things you just have around. I was talking earlier, my son has used an old stock tank that the bottom had rotted out of
Right, perfect.
to
I thought
build
that
up
was a
his
great idea.
container. So you can recycle a lot of things. We see a lot of container gardens now built out of pallets, and a lot of different suggestions for how you can do that. And Mason told you last time, you can also plant directly in the ground
Right.
if you have a place that's ready. But so like Zandy said, that soil is such an important piece of anything that we do. And we want you to be successful. And a lot of what we end up doing, particularly I feel like with gardening, there's those tried and true things that are gonna work, and then there's years when just nothing works.
That's right.
No matter
And then-
what you do.
and, you know, some years tomato plants do great, and we may just come up with the next year and you can't even get a tomato. So it just happens sometimes, and we just have to learn. And I know every year that I've gardened, I learn something different and something new. And I think that's kind of what makes it exciting, is that you do get to learn every year something different, and you see things grow, and there's just nothing more rewarding than getting to see things grow and then harvest that fruit or vegetable from it and get to enjoy it. It is a good feeling.
Absolutely, and when you have a plethora of squash or peppers or whatever that is, contact our local food bank. They're always looking for fresh
Oh,
produce
absolutely, yes.
that they can share with the community. And some things will just overproduce, and you'll have more than you can eat or do anything with. So as Mason mentioned last time, contact our office if you have questions, if you have plants that just aren't doing well, or something that before you plant, if you want to make sure you're prepared and have what you need, give us a call. We are the Curry County Extension Office, 575-763-6505. We're located at 818 North Main. You can stop by and see us, or you can go to our website, curryextension.nmsu.edu. That will link you to publications that talk all about the growing zones and all of the gardening information that we have from New Mexico State University. So of course I want to thank Zandy for
thank
being
you.
here with us today to give us some great gardening tips, and we will be back here next time with a little more about what you can do with what you get from your spring garden.